You read the Bible, Ringo?
Not regularly, no.
Well, there's this passage I got memorized. Ezekiel 25:17. The path of the righteous man is beset on all sides by the inequities of the selfish and the tyranny of evil men. I never gave much thought to what it meant. It means you're the weak, and I'm the tyranny of evil men.
From the world-famous Blackbird Studios, it's the Rave X Podcast. And now, Rave X.
Oh, hell yeah, baby. Rave X Podcast, episode 100. Thanks for tuning in, man. This is a real special episode. I'm your host, Garrett Morris. So anyway, you know, for the longest time, I didn't want to do an episode 100 because I wanted to wait and have it be like something big, something special. I was going to have a bunch of people call into the show and maybe do some clips from funnier moments of past shows. And I said, you know what, man? Let me just do a show from the heart. And if I do a show from the heart, that will make it special. And today's episode 100, is called the $4 Life Lesson. And, you know, I bumped into a friend the other day, and we're talking back and forth, and they said, hey, have you spoken to so-and-so? And I said, nah, man, me and that person don't talk no more. And they said, oh, man, they're not doing good. They're, you know, between jobs, they almost got evicted. They broke up with their girl. And I said, yeah, I know, man. And this person has some issues. And that's why I don't talk to that person anymore. And I said, yeah, they mentioned that. They said they miss you. You're not around. And I said, well, here's the thing, man. I know it sounds harsh, but I've had it with that person. I've had it up to here. I've done nothing but be a good friend to that person. They've done nothing but throw it back in my face and sometimes spit in my face. And, you know, I should have knocked them unconscious years ago, but I didn't. So the best thing I can do for this situation is just to leave that person be. And then I told them a story. And I didn't realize how important this story was to me, you know. And it goes back to when I was about 9 years old. And my dad used to give me an allowance. Not much. If I did what I had to do, you know, take out the trash, do the dishes, etc., do my homework, I would get like $4. And the reason why my dad made that allowance $4 was he said, well, there's room for improvement. You see what I mean, son? There's room for growth. You make $4 now, but maybe next year you make $5, but that depends on you. And all I could think about at 9 was, what the F am I going to do at $4? So one day I did all the things I had to do, and I asked my dad for my allowance, and he gave me my $4. And I put it in the pocket of my shorts, my very baggy shorts. And I was so happy because I wanted to go to this toy store that wasn't too far from my house. And I had my eyes set on this toy that was about $3.99, you know, like a G.I. Joe vehicle or something, or a car or something like that. And I run to the park first because the park was kind of on the way. And I'm so happy and amped up with energy. I've got my money. I've got my $4, you know. I'm swinging on the monkey bars, and then I get on the merry-go-round, and all the little young 9, 10-year-old girls are there. So, of course, your boy Rave X is trying to impress them. And I'm hanging, you know, by my knees from the bar. And then I'm, you know, doing cartwheels and, you know, just doing what young kids do when they're happy and it's summertime. So I make my way to the toy store. And I see the toy that I want for $3.99. And I reach into my pocket. And my $4 is gone. Guys, lost. Never found it. I'm not even going to lie to you. My eyes start to tear up a little bit. I'm checking all my pockets. I only got 3 pockets, 2 side pockets, 1 back pocket. It's gone. I run out the toy store. I'm looking down the street, and I don't go too far before I just realize the $4 is gone.
Rave X, hey, look, every damn couple of weeks I listen and try to find your podcast, and it's great. And guess what? I just counted. You've got 100 of them. Well, congratulations, and I'm sure there'll be hundreds more.
So, I dry the tears from my little 9-year-old eyes, and I go back home and I knock on the door. I had a key, but for some reason I just knocked on the door. I don't know, I wanted sympathy. My dad opens the door and he looks at me, and right off the bat he knows that something is wrong. And he says, somebody took the money, didn't they? And I said, no, nobody took the money from me. I lost the money. And it was almost worse that I had just lost the money, you know? Like, if someone took the money from me, I could say, well, there was 4 or 5 of them, and they were bigger than me, and they roughed me up, and they took my money. But, you know, I was always raised to tell the truth. And that's what I told my dad, man. I lost the money. And my dad just looked at me, and he ran his hand over the top of his head, much like I'm doing now. And he said, all right, go get my wallet. It's in the living room. I went and I got his wallet. And I'm starting to feel better because I'm thinking he's going to give me back the money. I can still go buy this toy. The store's not going to close for like another couple of hours. Everything's going to be okay. And he reaches into his wallet, and I see the money, fives and tens, and he's looking for ones. And he pulls out two $1 bills. And he hands me those two $1 bills. And for a second, I am confused. And I look up at him, but I know not to question. But in my head, I'm going, what the F, old man? I lost $4, not $2. What's the matter? You can't count? And I look at this $2, and I look at my dad, and I fold up the money, and I put it in my back pocket that had a little button on it, and I go, thanks. And he goes, well, don't you want to know why I only gave you $2? And I go, yeah. And he goes, well, part of it's your responsibility. You didn't secure your money. You should have put that money in the back pocket, put it in your sock, put it someplace secure. But you put it in those loose-ass baggy pockets, and then you ran out. You were probably jumping fences and climbing stuff, weren't you? And I said, yeah, I went to the playground. He goes, you know what? Your money was at the playground, but some kids probably took it and left with it. So now you get $2. I can't give you the whole lot of it, you know what I mean? And I just said, yes, sir, thank you, and I left. And for the longest time, I thought about that, and when you're younger, your brain works differently. You only think of the sort of the here and the now, and you think about you. You make it all about you. And years later, man, when I was 20, 30, so on, I realized that what he did was the right thing. Because if he gave me back all the money, I wouldn't have changed my behaviors. You see what I'm saying? The key word of the day is consequences.
Hey, Rave X, this is your boy Bill Cosby. I don't believe everything that you hear about me and stuff. I'm not in jail no more. I'm at home. I'm at home hanging out, having a Coca-Cola in the pudding pop, listening to the Rave X Podcast. Congratulations on 100 episodes.
Now, just like that friend who I chose to not speak to anymore, and it's been, maybe a year, this person behaves himself in a manner in which most people don't want to deal with, so he usually finds himself by himself. But when he blows his money on dumb stuff, or he treats people like crap, people tend to forgive him. They tend to loan him some money. He goes to a bar, doesn't have money for beer, they tend to buy him beer. And I remember one time I was at a bar with this guy, and he said, yo, hook a brother up with a beer. And I said, no. And he looked at me like I was the bad guy. And I realized that the reason why this person acts this way is because they never had any of these $4 life lessons. Very important life lessons, that I can thank my dad for. Because it's the type of life lesson that stays with you. And when you become an adult, you realize that this was probably one of the greatest lessons that you would ever learn. And it's better to get these things out of the way young, right? It's better to learn when you're young that nothing is owed to you. You're not entitled to anything. And that, for the most part, you're the one who's in control of how your life goes. And I'm always blown away at my age that there are people out there who still haven't figured this out yet. Because even to this day, at the age that I'm at, I always think about the $2 versus the $4. And when I went to that toy store with half the money I originally had, well, I couldn't buy what I wanted to buy. I had to buy something smaller. But I made it work, and I was happy and grateful to have it. But at the same time, it always burnt me in the back of my head. He could have just given me all the money back. But you see what I'm saying here? Do you see the comparison that I'm making here? We always think that way. We think if I make bad decisions with my money, well, a friend of mine should just lend me $20 so I can buy myself some food. There you go. If I blow my money on whatever and whatever, well, my landlord should cut me some slack, man. Hey, buddy, cut me some slack. If I come in an hour late to work, my boss should just let it slide, man. And I realized that the world that our parents came from, depending on what age you are, you had consequences. The world we live in now, not so much with the consequences. People just, they want you to forgive them. They want you to give them what they think is entitled to them. A lot of entitlement. And it just ain't the way things should be or the way things used to be. Now, I'm a firm believer of the $4 life lesson. And that is why there are a few people in my life who I have chosen not to speak to anymore. And if everyone chooses to not speak to them, that will be their moment of clarity. And they'll have an epiphany. And they'll realize it was time to do things differently, you know? And it's funny because I made friends with someone on Facebook who I didn't know, kind of a friend of a friend. And this person twice now has posted on Facebook, hey, I need some money. I'm a little behind the 8 ball and I have kids. If you guys, I set up a PayPal. If you guys could just give me some money. And the first time around, it looked like people gave this individual money. A couple days later, they're happy and partying and whatever. A couple of months goes by. You know, guys, I'm embarrassed to ask you this. And in my head, I'm going, sure, you're embarrassed. If you guys could just give me some money. I have kids. I'm behind. And I'm going, okay. And then I looked at it, and it appeared that no one had given them money this time around. Now, some people would say that's mean. This individual has children. They need to put food on the table. But this person also is apparently bad with their money. Something that they're not doing something right. And if they hit rock bottom, that will make them better for next time. Now, we've come to call this being mean, being angry. You know, you're being mean to them. You're not being fair to them. And, you know, anytime I brought up to my dad that something wasn't fair, he would always say the funniest thing. He'd go, oh, I'm sorry. Did you get the life that was meant to be fair? Good man. I would say good man. But as the song says, Papa was a Rolling Stone.
Yo, Rave X, congrats on 100 episode. Peace.
But he was wise enough to know at that point that if he gave me back all the money, I would probably become some overprivileged, at least in my head, douche of an adult once I got to a certain age who thought that it was, you know, life is supposed to be fair and I'm entitled to this, that, and the other thing. Maybe I'd be on Facebook asking people for money to help pay my rent because I think I'm entitled to make bad decisions, but also, you know, have people help me out when I need it. Crazy, right? $4 life lesson changed my entire view on the world at 9 years old, and I carried that with me into my 20s and 30s and 40s and so on. Well, that's going to wrap it up for me, kids. Rave X Podcast, episode 100, the $4 life lesson. God, I wish we all got some more life lessons like that. Now, I know that some of you guys are not going to agree with me on all the things that I just said, but keep in mind that today's episode is about consequences, man. It's about taking responsibility for your actions, and it's about not blaming the other guy when you mess around and you don't play your cards right.
I was told to give a shout out to someone named Rave X. I'm not even sure who it is. Rave, this is President Trump. Congratulations on 97, 98. I'm not sure how many podcasts you have. I don't listen to podcasts. They're beneath me. Anyway, congratulations. Vote Trump now and forever. Thank you. Somebody get me a Diet Coke, please.
Let me handle a little business here. My band, Choose Your Power, as you've heard me talk about many times on this podcast, just put out a live record, man. Choose Your Power, Fractured Live. Now, if you've heard the studio record Fractured Mind, it's a great record. The live record, a little bit better, man. You get that live energy. So Choose Your Power, Fractured Live, chooseyourpower.bandcamp.com, and you'll find it. Anyway, I got shit to do, so click like, subscribe, ravexmusic.bandcamp.com, and until next time, do me a favor, kids, remember this. All your wounds are self-inflicted. My name's Rave X. Enjoy yourself!
That was the Rave X Podcast. Be sure to click like and subscribe. For podcasts, new music, and all things Rave X, go to youtube.com and search Rave X Music.
Damn, this episode sucked.